The hunt for this six-figure Hasbro Retro Collection multi-pack is finally over. I know a lot of you are still trying to hunt this wild animal down in the wild. Let's discuss what happened, the tariff situation, the fallout from this release, and why we should have gotten better. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's the Kind of Collector. In this week's episode, like I explained, I finally tracked down this elusive Retro Collection multi-pack at Target. So, politics aside, tariff situation aside, we all pre-ordered this set, and then all of a sudden, many weeks later, we get an email from Target saying that all of our pre-orders are canceled. Said something about, supply chain issues or whatever, which was understandable, but this was a pretty big, release. Everybody says, oh, it's not a big deal to Hasbro. This is like, pennies for them, this little 6-pack release. But I would assume if they do all these video drops and they put all this marketing behind this and social media stuff behind this, it probably means a little bit to them. They probably have a team that works on this. There's a lot of us consumers out there that were super excited to get this pack, pre-ordered it, and then to get the horrible news from Target. So, in just any statement from Hasbro, it could have just been on their Instagram page that said, hey, due to the recent tariff situation, we cannot deliver these on time as promised. We're looking into it. We will keep you posted as we get more information. We apologize. Please stick with us, through this difficult situation. Any type of verbiage or communication from Hasbro on this would have been great, or Target, but it was radio silence all the way around. And instead of holding all the stock, bringing it in, whatever their plan was, releasing the stock on time, and then just not on time, but at the same time, so we could all finally go to Target and pick this up or get it shipped to our house. No, they couldn't do that either. So whatever few pieces they do have in the US right now that they paid the higher tariffs on are scattered all across the country at these Targets. They pop up one set at a time. Probably the Target employees snag them pretty quickly, put them up on eBay. But if you're lucky enough, like I did the other day, to wake up in the morning, search the app, find one in stock, and go, hunt it down, and it's actually there on the shelf when you get it, kudos to you, keep trying. So that's my rant on this whole situation. So put that aside, let's actually check out these action figures and look at the head sculpts, do all that cool stuff, compare them to some of the fan-made stuff that I've collected over the years for these figures as well. Let's check these out. Now that my rant is out of the way, let's get to the review of the action figures. So, and let me know what you think about this drop. Don't get political. These are just toys. We don't need people fighting in the comments section. But this is the Rebel Fleet Trooper. So you can see his head sculpt right here as we zoom in. This is kind of similar to the helmet from the Death Squad Commander. Paint job is really good on this guy too. Paint scheme I think is good. I like the head sculpt. Doesn't have the chin strap, which is kind of vintage Kenner type design. But I don't know. The only thing about this figure, I'm not a huge fan of the figures where their arms are kind of like dangling out. I like to see them kind of more straight down. Kind of like what we got from this stand solo version of the Rebel Fleet Trooper. And you can see as I compare these side to side, let me know which one you think is better down in the comments section. The head sculpt is more, or the helmet and stuff is more accurate on the stand solo version. It's got the chin strap. Arms down by his side like they should be. So, but all in all, I think this is a pretty decent action figure from Hasbro here on the left. And then lastly, we have a new one from my buddy Greg over at Ouroboros Customs. This is a really funny Han Solo in Rebel Fleet Trooper disguise. And it's actually got a removable helmet, which is pretty sick. So you can take this bad boy right off. Check that out. And put them right back on. So pretty cool. These are a couple of the Rebel Fleet troopers that I have in my collection. Let me know what you think about the new one from Hasbro. Let's check out the next figure here. And next up we have the Hasbro Retro Collection Sand Trooper action figure. So this is this one, you know, we've all been dying for. Obviously Kenner never released these figures except for the Walrus Man. So it was, you know, that's kind of the breath of fresh air, getting this new 6-pack, is getting, you know, 5 figures that we never got from Kenner back in the day. This being one of the ones that I think everybody was dying to get their hands on when they pre-ordered this set. It's cool because when you lift his arm up and down, you know, the Paladin's kind of cut in half on that arm seam or that shoulder socket, which is pretty cool. And he's got the quick draw or the bent elbow on his left arm, which is kind of cool. And especially with this long rifle or blaster, it fits in really nicely in that other hand as well. But very similar, you know, sculpt to the Stormtroopers that we got from Kenner back in the day. You know, this is really a flawless design. I think I don't have anything negative to say about this sculpt or this new retro action figure. But just for comparison, this is a Pro Custom Figures Sand Trooper as well. So you can kind of see the two side by side. Very, very similar. Really the only difference is, you know, that bent arm or that entire left arm on the new Retro Collection version from from Hasbro. But yeah, really good sculpt on this one. Let's go ahead and check out the next figure. And here we have Dr. Evazan, the Cantina creature, or the guy that likes to pick fights in the cantina. But yeah, what do you all think about this one? I mean, the head sculpt's definitely more, you know, vintage Kenner-esque without a whole lot of like detail on this dude's messed up mug. You know, his screwed up eyeball, his right eyeball is kind of just a white paint, which is kind of cool. Obviously his big, you know, disfigured nose as well. Hairline's pretty cool. Outfit I like. Definitely looks distressed. And this is the Dr. Evazan that we got from the next 17. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think, you know, in the comments section. You know, I still think the fans are doing a pretty hell of a, you know, damn good job. I kind of like the head sculpt on the next 17 on the left a little bit more, to be honest with you. But yeah, let me know. This is another cool figure. It's just cool to have like different variations, you know, of these figures that we never got from Kenner back in the day as well. So let's go ahead and move on to the next. And I think this figure, you know, they did a pretty good job on as well. This is the Han Solo figure, an Imperial Stormtrooper outfit. You know, we had the vintage Power of the Force Luke Skywalker version with removable helmet and Stormtrooper disguise, but never got the Han Solo. Have no idea why you would do one without the other, but finally in 2025, we have one that's been factory produced. So what do you guys think about the head sculpt on this Han Solo figure? I think it's pretty decent. Could be a little bit better, but these are always, I'm sure these are always tough to get right and to, you know, mold up, especially trying to stay true to the vintage Kenner style and the way that they made the figures, you know, back in the day. So this one comes with 2 blasters. He has his long rifle there in the right arm, and then his, you know, normal Imperial blaster in his left arm. But the coolest part about this guy is the removable helmet is made out of a soft, bendable material. So you're not worried about like scratching, you know, all the paint off of his head, especially there towards the top of his forehead, like what can happen on some of these custom or fan-made figures. And you can see here, you know, as I bend this thing, and it's got kind of these little stoppers in there that rest on his head, which is cool, so it's not all wobbly and stuff. So definitely, this is my favorite part of this entire 6-pack, is this, you know, soft Stormtrooper helmet. And if time allows or money allows, when these are more readily available, I'm definitely going to get a couple more of these for some of the custom action figures that I have. So let's go ahead and put the helmet on Han Solo and see what it looks like. Check that out. It looks pretty darn good. You can move it around. Looks a little bit off center there. So, but that's what's great with it being soft. You can get it, you know, wherever you want it. And then kind of the version that we got from Stan Solo a few years back, you can see here. And he just came with like the normal, you know, hard Stormtrooper helmet that we got from Kenner for the Luke Skywalker version back in the day. But, and then just let me take this off so you guys can see the head sculpts kind of side by side. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I think both of these are pretty damn good, you know, action figures. So I guess you're kind of just nitpicking. But the other thing, again, is the bent arm, just like on the Sand Trooper that we saw earlier, which is cool when he's holding the long rifle. It's nice that it's not going through the floor, so you can actually stand him up while he's holding the long rifle, which is pretty cool. So those are the comparison between the, you know, Stan Solo version and the new retro Han Solo Stormtrooper action figure. And lastly, the figure I'm sure you all have been waiting for. This was, you know, aside from the Sand Trooper, I don't know, man, I think even the Han Solo Stormtrooper, I really think all of these, you know, probably Dr. Evazan is everybody's least favorite, outside of Walrus Man, you know, that was just a straight up like duplicate. I wish they would have given us another, you know, Cantina figure to go with Dr. Evazan, or, you know, done a more movie accurate, you know, paint scheme, or just something on the Walrus Man instead of just a regurgitated figure. So I'm not even gonna show that figure because it's just the same as what we got from Kenner back in the day. So this is the last figure. Everybody's got mixed emotions on this guy, mostly surrounding his head sculpt that looks like a 10-year-old boy. And I might actually even be doing a head swap on this guy myself. We'll compare it to a Funky McClunky Luke Skywalker in Yavin ceremony outfit here in a second. But kind of what's cool though is it comes with the appropriate blaster, you know, Leia's blaster that he's got there in his right hand. That's actually the blaster that he had at the Yavin ceremony, if you go back and look at the movie. So that's kind of a cool aspect. Obviously you get the metal around his neck. Other than the head sculpt, I mean, it's kind of a home run. It definitely still has the dangling arms that are kind of going outwards instead of down, which I don't like at all. But other than that, I think the outfit, the paint scheme is really great. You know, I'll definitely probably do a head swap, but let's check this out compared to the Funky McClunky version I have. All right, so here we have the two figures side by side. The Funky McClunky, painted up by Ouroboros Customs on the left, and then the new Hasbro Retro Collection. Yavin Ceremony Luke Skywalker there on the right. You can see the differences between the two. You know, I don't know, which metal do you like better? I think this is actually a custom modern metal that I got for him. I can't remember if that's the painted up funky one or a different one that I put on the one on the left. But regardless, what do you think about the head sculpts, you know, compared on these guys? And then the paint schemes are very, very similar, as you see here. But I don't know if I'm gonna ask Funky for a head that I can paint up and do a head swap on this guy. So let me know what you think down in the comments section. Let me know if you've gotten lucky, got your hands on one of these sets, still wish, Hasbro or Target would have just told us like, hey man, these are delayed, let us, work on this. Obviously you've seen the news, what's going on, and we'll let you know once we have more information and when these will be readily available for everyone, instead of just not saying anything. Any sort of words or update from them would have been nice. With, I know how many people just in my, in this community, like on my Instagram page and stuff, that, it's a lot of people that are waiting on this, that pre-ordered these. So, just any sort of update to kind of ease our worried minds would have been cool. And just the way they were released, now it's just like a scalper's, paradise on these. So, but yeah, that's it. That's just a fresh look at these new figures that we just got. Best of luck, snagging one yourself. Try to be patient. Just wait for these to show up. So you don't have to pay the crazy scalpers prices on eBay, but they should show up soon at your local Target. So that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And that's a wrap on this week's episode. Thanks again everybody for tuning in. Throw a like on this, it really helps support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. It looks like about half the returning people that come and see my videos again is about double or triple what the subscription quantity is right now. So if you like my videos, if you've come back and watched multiple videos, please subscribe. It really helps the channel and allows me to do more of these, stupid little funny videos for y'all. So I appreciate everybody out there watching, and until next time, collect the Kenner.